At a gas station, I glanced at a newspaper with my father's picture on it, embracing what looked like my brother Stephen. I picked it up and read through the headlines. Stephen was running for public office and he's gay. What the holy? I bought one of the disposable cells hanging on a rack along with the paper. I had no idea what damn town I was in, and I never made it to Switzerland. Never even made it to the airport. I got halfway there and said, I'm just going to get a rental. I feel like driving. I parked my car in the garage under my penthouse's building, hailed a cab to a rental place and never looked back. I can't even tell you where I'd been. Now, curious, I loaded the new cell and called Mom. Grace Carter. Mom? Stephen's gay? I could kill you, Jack. Where the hell are you? I don't know. Hang on. I looked around but saw nothing that could give me a clue. I turned on the GPS and frowned. Mom? The GPS says I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota. I laughed. I truly had no clue. Minnesota? What are you doing there? You're supposed to be out of the country. Do you realize you've been away 3 months? I frowned. I have. Yes. It'll be Halloween in 11 days, Jack. I shouted. Everything has to be in disarray at the office. And yes, your brother is gay. They called off the wedding the day after you left, and Stephen told your father and me in the next breath. There's something else, but I think I need to tell you in person. Are you coming home today? Melinda's free? Yeah, I'm going to the airport now, I mumbled, punching in the request on the GPS. Mom, is Stephen all right? He's fine, but his poor ex-fiancée had to leave the country. She says it was because she needed to get away, but I think it was because she got tired of the crap she was getting from the press. They made her physically sick with all the asinine questions they threw at her. Out of the country? Where did she go?
Oh, my God. I groaned into the commode. Stomach flu should not last this damn long. I believed I hurled everything I'd ever eaten. I cleaned up and wearily went back to my study. Carefully, I lowered on the couch and perused through my mail. I smiled at the postcard from Stephen and Jonathan. They were celebrating being out in Mexico. Stephen and his father held a news conference where Stephen tearfully apologized to me and the country for lying about his sexuality and announced his love for his doctor lover, who forgave Stephen after a month of not talking to him. Jonathan also told him that if it happened again, he'd leave him forever. Stephen vowed it never would, because he realized how much and how many he hurt. It was decided that Grace would remain in the closet, despite Eleanor's initial protests. In the end, they all agreed this was the best course for the family's political aspirations. John refused to ever divorce Grace, and the world, they believed, was not ready for a lesbian first lady. Several times a day, since that night of passion I shared with whomever the hell that was, I tried to think of clues or something to figure out who he was, but it was so dark and he whispered so softly. I can't very well go around and ask the staff to whisper, "Let me try to me," could I? Anyway, I was tested for everything known to man when I finally got the courage to go my clinic a few days ago. I had been sick for weeks, and my father started panicking. Just to shut him up, I went to the doctor and disclosed the dalliance and that, along with me being sick, made him order tests which felt like they needed a gallon of my blood and urine. Feeling nauseous again, I laid on the couch and thought about that night, again, and hoped to get the memory out of my system soon. I believed I'd absolutely die if Jack ever found out, though I don't know why since I hadn't heard from him after the engagement was called off. Well, why should I? He's not mine, and I am definitely not his. He made that perfectly clear when left me standing in the Carter's library. Lindy? I groaned softly. In here, father. A wave of nausea hit me again, and I shut my eyes. My father sat next to me and rubbed my back. Still no better? No, I whispered. Try some soup, honey. I'm very worried about you not eating. I can't. Nothing stays down, not even water. My dad frowned as he rubbed my back again. How about the crackers? Saltines can be good for nausea, he pled softly as my house line trilled. Are you going to answer the phone? No, Daddy. I don't feel like talking to anyone. I understand, honey. Miss Melinda? Dr. Jemison is on the phone for you, my housekeeper informed. Oh, good. Thanks, Sherry. Maybe he can give me an answer as to why I'm feeling like crap. Pass me the desk phone, Daddy, please. He gave me the phone, and after I greeted my doctor, he started on my test results. Melinda, I'm happy to say that all your results came back negative. You're healthy, and I don't see anything in the report to be concerned about. Well, that's good, I think. You think? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm still sick, doctor. I can't keep anything down, and I'm nauseous. All day, every day. I've prescribed something to help with that, and it should arrive momentarily. I want you to begin taking it as soon as it's in your hands, but it should pass sometime in the near future. It will?
Why?
What is it? Melinda, remember when you told me of your encounter?
Yes.
And you stated that you were not sure if your partner wore a condom. Yes, that's true, I murmured, turning red as my father stared at me while I talked. I'm guessing he didn't, Melinda, or it was defective. You're pregnant.
What?
I whispered, are you sure? I am, Melinda. Testing confirms. What do you want to do? I stared at the wall as a tear rolled down my cheek. Lindy, what is it? My father demanded.
Please tell me.
Are you ill? No, father, I whispered. He inhaled sharply. Yes, you are. You called me father again. Tell my father, doctor.
Please.
Crying, I handed Daddy the phone, and he paled as he listened to the doctor. He finally hung up. I wiped my face while he paced the floor. I cannot believe this, Lindy.
Stephen's gay.
How in the hell did you have sex with him? I sniffed and reached for more tissues. It's not Stephen's, Daddy. I've never slept with him.
What?
Then whose is it? I don't know. Attempting to ignore the nausea, I sat up and stared at my fingers, too frightened to look up at him. Oh, God. Were you assaulted, Lindy? No, I wailed. Yes. I don't know. Okay, shoo, Daddy begged, wrapping his arms around me. Please tell me what happened. I thought it was Stephen. I knew he was gay, but he promised he'd try to be intimate with me during the marriage, so I believed that night he wanted a first try, so I consented. The next morning, I realized that it wasn't him, and in consequence, I have no idea with whom I had sex.
I am so sorry, Daddy.
I never meant for this to happen. My father held me as I cried on his chest. When I quieted, he gave me more tissues, and I cleaned my face. His hands gripped my shoulders, and he looked at me with concern. What are you going to do, Lindy? I shrugged. What can I do? You have options, sweetheart, he informed softly. I glared at him. I only have one. No matter what, this is my baby. I may not know who his or her father is, but I definitely know who is the mother.
Me.
Your daughter. If you can't accept my child, then I can always stay away from you. That is definitely not an option, Lindy. You're my daughter. I love you and only wanted to know your decision. I will help in every way possible and make sure that you'll have no worries. It will be fine, honey. Trust your father. 3 months later, I glared at my mother, thinking, I wish I had chosen to go somewhere else. Why did I come back to England? I am begging all the heavens to please make her go to bed and sleep for 48 hours straight. And then we could get all white furniture. Maybe a nice white recliner, too.
Oh.
And you have to get a mural, Twix. Maybe of the Pooh? I really love that Tigger. I turned and wobbled away. I never should have come here. Only my grandparents make it worthwhile. Both quiet, unassuming people. I don't understand how they ended up with a daughter who could talk 20 miles a minute and not come up for air. Gingerbread, where are you going? Late night celebrating my birthday, and now your mouth is wearing me out, Mum. I need a nap. My mother tittered. Do you need my help, sugar cookie? I smirked. No, Mum, but thanks. I laid on the bed and stared at the ceiling. As I had done every day since the night after my baby was conceived, I tried to think of something that would tell me who is my baby's father. Nothing was triggering me. Absolutely nothing. He was a gentleman, asking my permission before touching me. Guess that doesn't really count since he was already naked when he entered my bed. What if I'd said no? Was he going to get up, dressed, and leave? Yeah, I think he would have, and politely. I immediately eliminated Stephen's family. John would never show up naked in my room. Besides, this guy was young and fit. I remembered my hands on his solid chest as I found that rhythm with him. God, how I wished it were Jack. I still wanted him.
But why?
Months later, I still had not heard a word from him. Everyone in the world now knew Stephen was gay, that I was no longer with him, and where I was convalescing. Jack knew I never slept with his brother, so there was no awkwardness. What was keeping him from at least making contact with me? Several hours later, I startled and opened my eyes after dreaming that the wedding happened. But Jack stopped it. Complete wishful thinking. The room was completely dark. What the? I turned to the clock and grimaced when I noted the time. A soft knock sounded at my door. "Lollipop, are you awake?" Mum murmured. My stomach growled. "Yes, I am," I replied, struggling to sit up. I finally did and giggled. "You slept a long time, Lindy Cake. Are you feeling okay?" I turned away when she clicked on the soft bedside light. Looking out the window, I softly informed, "No, I want to go home."
I don't care what happened to the equipment, Barnes. Find out if the employee is okay and replace the damn thing immediately. You have 8 hours and I want a full report. Goddamn incompetence again. I slammed the phone back into its cradle. Can anyone do their goddamn jobs anymore? I shouted when the intercom buzzed. "What now, Miss Towers?" Silence. Suddenly the office door opened and slammed. "Enough. Jack, you are killing the company and morale with this ridiculous attitude." I glanced at the clock on the wall and sneered. "It is not 6 p.m., Miss Towers. Kindly remember I'm your boss when addressing me." She matched my own angry glare. "Fine," she suddenly snapped, hurrying to the printer. I watched as she pulled a sheet of paper from it and snatched a pen from the holder on my desk. She wrote so furiously that I almost chuckled. Finally, she stood and read what she wrote, and satisfied with it, she slammed it on the desk in front of me and stormed toward the door. I immediately picked up the paper and read it. "Freeze," I shouted, now completely pissed off. "No," she yelled back, opening the door and gave me her middle finger. "You know what to do with that, Jack Carter. And don't bother with my recommendation. I sign your name better than you, so I have that covered." I could not believe Sarah resigned. Holding her letter, I jumped up from the desk and ran after her. She was at her desk, clearing it off. "Sarah, come on. Is it so serious that you have to quit on me?" She whirled around and scowled. "You're kidding me, right? Have you not paid attention to yourself since you returned from your impromptu tour of America? I'll admit finding out your mother's queer is a bit shocking. But damn it, Jack. You're destroying every relationship you have. When's the last time you've spoken to any member of your family?" "Okay, so I've been avoiding everyone. I fell in love with my brother's fiancée, and I'd been avoiding them all in case she came back from England and contacted them. I didn't want to see her. Now that she's free, she doesn't need me breathing down her neck begging her to be with me. So I suffered in silence. Sort of. In truth, the entire company was my victim. Jack. I don't know. A couple of months, almost." She shook her head. "Call your mother. Being a lesbian is not the end of the world, you know. That's not it. Her being lesbian doesn't bother me. Nor does it bother me that Stephen is gay. Then what is going on?" Suddenly her eyes widened. "Are you thinking? Are you now questioning your sexuality, Jack? I am very much hetero, Sarah, and that's not changing. I love women just as much as you do." "Jerk," she snorted. "So if you're not mad at your mother or your brother, what is with this mean, nasty, hot-headed temperament you've adopted?" I sat across from her desk. "I fell in love with an inappropriate woman and I can't get over her." She sat next to me and patted my hand. "I'm flattered, Jack. Really I am, but..." I smirked. "Not you, goofball. Christ. Nothing wrong with your self-esteem, is there?" She laughed. "I know it's not me. I'm teasing because I'm shocked you fell for someone finally. Only took you damn near 35 years to do it. Who is she? Don't judge me, all right?" "I won't, but..." "Oh, I think I just figured it out." I frowned at her, stunned. "You did?" "Yeah. She's a beautiful woman, Jack, and she's only a plane ride away. Go get her before some English guy snatches her up." "And do what?" "Say what?" "Just simply tell her the truth. You love her. If she turns you down, at least you'd have gotten it out of your system and can start to heal. Then again, maybe she will accept you and your next secretary will have a much better boss than I've had lately. There's not going to be a next one." I ripped her letter of resignation to shreds. "I don't accept your notice." "Whatever, Jack," she murmured, going to her desk. She typed on her keyboard and twitched her lips. "Sir, there's a departure to the UK on Friday evening. Sleep on the plane. By the time you land, it will be noon there, I think, and I'll have the exact address for her well before the flight. Do yourself and the rest of us a favor by making that plane and coming back here a better man. There was nothing wrong with the old you."
Lindy, I just don't understand why you couldn't come back to Thousand Oaks. Or your own home, at least. Why are you hiding in Calabasas? Because I'm not ready for everyone to know I'm pregnant and having to explain that I don't know who the father is, father. I barely know anyone in Calabasas, and everyone knows me in Thousand Oaks. We sat across from each other in a little Italian restaurant that I had come to love since returning from England. I come often alone, since Mum returned to the UK 2 weeks ago to pack up her life. After I offered to help her, my mother chose to stay in America permanently, wanting to be close to me and her grandchild. It's no one's business, honey. Just shake your head and say you don't want to talk about it and come home.
Not yet, Daddy.
Maybe I will as soon as the baby comes. He sighed, defeated. You still don't want to know the sex?
Nope.
I want to be as surprised as the day I found out he or she was coming. Not fair to the rest of us. Your mother must be going nuts not knowing. I smirked.
She is.
That's the best bit. We laughed and heard. Howard Stanton.
How are you, old man?
Matthew Cannon, you son of a gun, Dad shouted, standing to shake his hand. I'm good. You? I leaned forward to tuck my belly under my arms that were folded on the table. Doing well, he murmured and turned to me. Lindy, how are you? Staying out of trouble, I hope. I giggled and offered my cheek. I'm great, Matthew. Thank you. As for staying out of trouble, well, it's up to the individual to define trouble, right? He shook his head and laughed. Same old Lindy. I'm nothing if I'm not me. Agreed. Matthew grinned at the beautiful woman on his arm and looked back at my father. Sweets, this is Howard Stanton and his daughter, Melinda. Howard, Melinda, meet Sidra Daniels. I smiled and casually offered my hand. Pleased to meet you, Sidra. And you, Melinda, she smiled. I tuned them out as I sipped my water and politely smiled when Matthew said they have to leave. It was good to see you again, Lindy, he said, and kissed my cheek again. You as well, Matthew, I smiled. Don't be a stranger. I won't. 20 minutes later, Dad and I left the restaurant. In the limo, I noticed Matthew was still in the lot, and he was talking with a man whose back was to us. I inhaled when his head turns into profile and recognized him. I hadn't seen Jack Carter since he left me breathless in the library of his parents' home.
I had a business lunch that was delayed at Cavatappi, an Italian eatery. While passing the time in my car, I spotted Matthew Cannon exiting the restaurant. I shook his hand, then he turned to his companion. Sweets, this is Jack Carter. Jack, meet Sidra Daniels. She gently shook my hand, and I smiled at the beautiful woman standing next to Matthew. She had amber eyes and hair the color of honey. She was more than gorgeous, but as much as she was, she didn't hold a candle to the Madison woman I saw him with a few months before. Sweets, Jack and I have business to discuss that's privileged. Would you mind waiting in the car? Of course not, she assured. Take your time. We both watched Sidra walk to a black SUV and smoothly glide into the passenger seat. Phew, I murmured. Matthew grinned and nudged me. I know. She may work Madison out of my system. Out of your system? Trust me. You don't want to know. I crossed my arms and leaned back on my car. Oh, I promise I do. Start talking, Cannon. He smirked, shook his head, and leaned on my car too. All Madison wanted was sex, and after she got it, she split. She had moved on before I had a chance to tell her how I felt. I frowned. Are you serious? He nodded. I am. I studied him. That made no sense to me at all. Why would she get mad at that comment? Are you in love with Sidra? I asked, still frowning. I love her. He said that like he was telling me last night's basketball scores. I shook my head. One of us needs to be happy, Matthew. Go after Madison. Did you hear me? She moved on. She doesn't want me. How do you know she's moved on? When I went after her, I found her in a restaurant with some guy. They were all over one another. I shook my head again. Something's not right with this, Matthew. I swear, her words, that kiss. No, something is not right. What kiss? After a limo cleared my view, I pointed toward his SUV. The kiss at that car I witnessed in this parking lot. That was not an I only want you sex kiss. Nowhere near it. Well, it was. She was gone before I woke and said goodbye in a note, telling me to enjoy my life. Best night of mine, and with the only woman I've ever loved, and I get that kiss off. Welcome to the club, I murmured. Speaking of, Matthew grinned and pointed to the restaurant. I just saw Howard and Lindy. What? She's back? Back. She flew to England after Stephen came out. Mom said reporters were hounding her. He nodded. I recall. I swear I've always thought Stephen was gay. When you told me he was getting married and to a woman, I was in total shock. Well, you were right. He's gay in a relationship and they couldn't be happier. Melinda was marrying him as a favor because she was still distrustful of men. I bet. She didn't deserve what that simp tried to do to her. Who's a simp? A man chuckled behind me. I turned and grinned. Joshua. How are you, pest? He laughed genuinely. Joshua Cannon is the younger brother of Matthew, and when Matthew and I were in college, he would annoy the hell out of us every chance possible when I visited their home. I slapped his back as he half-hugged me. I'm good, Jack. I'm going to be a father, he happily informed me. Mandy's pregnant. I slapped his back again. Well done. When is she due? October. Congratulations, Joshua. Didn't I meet Marcus' wife at your wedding? He nodded. She was there, charming us all as usual, whenever Marcus didn't have his tongue in her mouth. Toad show you pictures of the nephews? I scoffed at Matthew. No, this dip did not. They both pulled out their phones and showed me pictures of two pudgy little boys grinning at the camera. Matthew pointed. This is Alex and this one's Donnie. They're almost a year old and they own each one of us. I bet they do, I laughed. Well, first Marcus, now Joshua. What are you waiting for, Matthew? He snorted. You before me, bum. I scoffed. No, I don't think so. There's only one potential candidate to be the mother of my children, and she's not interested. How do you know that? Matthew asked, frowning. You won't even talk to her. I would if I knew how to pin her down. I went to England, but she was already back here. I went to her home and she's not there, she's not with her father, and now you say she was here today. Joshua asked, wait, who are you talking about, Jack? Melinda Stanton. He frowned. Melinda Stanton? Why do I know that name? She's Howard Stanton's daughter, Matthew told him. Oh, right. The pregnant woman who almost married your Stephen, Jack. Matthew and I scowled. She's not pregnant, twerp, Matthew informed. You're thinking of someone else. Joshua snorted. Am not, Toad. Melinda is pregnant. I just saw her, twerp. In this restaurant. So did I. Melinda was with her father and that woman is pregnant. Deborah seated them in the booth across from the bar, when I was going into the private room for a lunch meeting. I frowned at him. I couldn't believe she moved on and was expecting with someone already. Guess that night meant more to me than it did to her. And that's my kiss-off, I muttered. Join the club, Jack. Matthew slapped my shoulder. What club, Toad? Joshua queried. You've never cared for a woman. At least not longer than it would take for you to release inside them. Why are you here, twerp? Matthew snapped at his brother. Don't you have a corporation to run? Did you not hear me say I had a meeting in the private room? I shook my head. They were about to start. Typical Cannon brother behavior. It was funny and never got old. I swore only their lovely sister had any decorum and usually kept them in line. I leaned back and listened to them while trying to forget about Melinda and her new excessively lucky guy. Someone's phone set off an alert. It was Matthew's and he scowled as he read a text. Damn it, it's Raquel. This concerns you too, twerp. I have to take, Listen, I'll meet you at Cramps in 30. This is definitely a Rockford call. Jack, I'll catch up with you soon. I nodded and watched as they both took off and hoped the situation would be resolved soon. In mid-April, I went on a date with a client's sister. Jack, come on, Keisha whined. Stop delaying the inevitable. I don't think there's anything worse than a whiny woman. Still, I studied Keisha Hill and thought, definitely doable. All that black, wavy hair and cocoa skin. And her thick body was delightful to see. But just like every other woman I'd been on a date with, something was missing. None of them was Melinda Iris Stanton. I jumped from my thoughts when she touched me intimately. Keisha, we are in public, you know. Are you aiming to get us arrested? Ooh, I've never done it in a cop's car, she purred. Sounds like fun. Let's go for it. I laughed and moved her hand. Oh God, Jack. Don't tease little ol' me, she whined, making me wince. Keisha, you make it so easy. I'll be easy for you, Jack, she promised and pulled me flush to her body. She kissed like a beast. Nothing but tongue. Miss Stanton? Are you okay? Where? Melinda's here? I broke away from Keisha and looked around. What's wrong, Jack? Keisha whispered in my ear. Nothing, I answered, still looking around. I thought I heard a name I knew. MMM. Where were we? I was just about to take you home, I said. Great, she grinned. No need to stop, hon. I have condoms. I'm just dropping you off, Keisha. I'm not staying. She gave an aggravated groan. You know what? Forget it. I'll take a cab. Lose my number, Jack. Okay, I agreed and headed straight to my car. I started it and peeled out of the lot.
A week before I went into labor, I spotted Jack in that same restaurant when I suddenly had another craving for stuffed peppers. The hostess had me waiting for the order when I heard a woman call out his name. They were in an intimate embrace, and I swear I thought he was giving her a dental exam with his tongue. I wanted to cry when I saw them and hid on the other side of the entrance podium, grateful it had a wall on the side. I circled around the long way to the exit, hoping Jack wouldn't see me. Then my peppers and I forlornly rushed back to my car, where my mother waited for my return. As soon as I got inside the car, I cried. "Muffin, what's wrong? Are you hurting?" "Yes," I thought. "I'm in love with Jack Carter, and he doesn't care about me." On April 18th, I jumped at a flash of light and scowled. Pant, pant, blow. Pant, pant, blow. This hurts. "I am never doing this again," I declared, wishing I had accepted the epidural. Pant, pant, blow. Pant, pant, blow. "Come on, turtle candy. Let's get the little bugger out of there. Let's." She's got nerve. Another flash goes off in my face. Christ, doesn't she know what is a video camera?
Mom.
Seriously? Get that damn camera away from me. Lindy pudding language. Pant, pant, blow. "Mummy, I'm sorry, but you have to leave.
Now. This is all too damn annoying right now."
Her eyes widened. "But, Taffy Apple, I'm your mum. You need me with you right now. Will you please stop calling me every confection you can think of and use my name? You do remember it, don't you, Mummy? Melinda Stanton. How on earth could I ever forget my peanut butter brownie's name? I gave it to you, you know." Oh, God. Can she be any more annoying than she was at that moment? Could that be a possibility? Mum patted my shoulder. "Now, Pudding Pop, try to relax."
Yep. Ah.
Enough already, damn it.
God. Get it out.
Get it out. Crumb Cake, please stop shouting at the medical staff and allow them to work. Really, there's no need for the screaming. Mother.
Get out.
Now, I screamed. The doctor moved his hand. "Melinda, you're ready to push. Sit up, chin down, and push for 10.
Okay.
I whimpered, raising. "Let's do this." Sometime later, the doctor announced, "Another push and you'll be a mother, Melinda. Chin down and let's go." "Let's," I screamed. "I don't see anything coming out of your privates, Doc." Lindy pudding. Is that any way to talk to the doctor? "Shut up, Mum," I shouted, pushing. Finally, the baby passed through me. I collapsed on the bed, exhausted. "Congratulations, Melinda. You have a beautiful baby girl," Dr. Brand exclaimed, placing the baby on my chest. Someone vigorously rubbed her back, and her loud cries filled the birthing suite. "It's a girl," I whispered as I looked between her legs. "It's a girl, Mummy. I told you." "Lemon drop," my mother whispered, crying against my temple. "Thank you for letting me be here for this, Lindy Poo." I smiled at my mother, glad I didn't make her go to the waiting room with her parents. "Thanks for coming back for me, Mum." "Of course, Lindy. You are my heart." She kissed my nose and caressed my baby's cheek. "Well, you used to be. Now this little one owns it. What's her name? Cheesecake?" I smiled at my little girl, thinking she looked like an iris to me. My baby girl happily splashed about in her tub, laughing loudly and making a mess. "She's so beautiful, it's almost ridiculous." "Rum cake," my mother cooed. I stared at little Iris Elizabeth Stanton and smiled. She is beautiful. I couldn't believe she's mine. All mine. I still had no clue as to who fathered her. It really shouldn't matter since she's not lacking in male role models. My dad is the typical grandfather, and his wife, Marla, adored her. Her sons did as well, and they love being uncles. So did Stephen and Jonathan. They were here at least 3 times a week with some kind of gift and a million hugs and kisses for little Iris, whom they've dubbed Ladybug. Mom met a man and they were pretty much bonded, so I believed she was here to stay, much to my father's chagrin and disgust at her choice. I calmly told him to get over it. "Peaches, I just love Iris eyes. They are so green and bright," Mom murmured, rubbing her little head. "Oh, and this hair. God, I'd kill for that tone. If it came in a bottle, I'd buy a vat." "What's this shade called, honey?" My head tilted as I frowned.
"I don't know, Mom."
"Ash blonde?" I stilled as soon as that color's name left my mouth. No, he wasn't there. She can't be Jack's.
Can she?
I lifted Iris out of the water and studied her as I wrapped her little body in a towel, dried and moisturized her tender skin, and put on her diaper. Could that man have been Jack? The eyes, the hair. It fits, but… Oh no, it can't be. He was gone. He left and never came back, right? Hey, listeners. I said, right? He was long gone that night, right? Ugh. Why am I asking you? It's not like I can't hear you. My eyes welled as I dressed my baby. When I finished, I passed her to my mother and said that Iris and I had somewhere important to be, and I needed to get dressed.
At 2 p.m. on October 22nd, I just finished a business call when a buzz startled me out of my thoughts on the day's next task. Damn intercom again, I muttered. I walked over to the desk, removing my headset. Pressing the button, I demanded, "What now, Miss Towers? I'm about to start on the Wainwright merger." Sir, I frowned at the intercom. Miss Towers, speechless? Is something wrong? Could be. You have a visitor who's not on the appointment list, but I really think you need to see her. I'm going to clear your schedule for the week. Cooper's available. He can take care of Wainwright and the merger. For the week? What? And she's reassigning my cases? Who's out there, Miss Towers? Sit down, Jack, and I'll send her in. I blew out a breath. She called me Jack in front of a visitor. Not good. And how the hell did she know I was standing? Fine. I lowered. I'm sitting, send her in. Melinda entered the office, her hair still long and framing her face in the way I love. She was just as beautiful as the last and the first time I saw her. Good afternoon, Jack. May I have a moment of your time? I stared at her, completely frozen and speechless. She takes my breath away every time I lay eyes on her. And now I knew my body missed her as much as my heart. Jack. I startled, ready to rise, and decided that was not a good idea. No way could I stand, I'd totally embarrass myself. Instead, I cleared my throat, wishing I still had on my suit jacket, and gestured to the chairs in front of me and answered, yeah, of course, Melinda. Have a seat. I watched her move to the chair across from me and cross her legs in a skirt that hit just above her knees. I tried for nonchalant. So, what can I do for you, Melinda? Well, my voice totally squeaked. Was it you in the bed with me that night, Jack? She asked gently, holding my gaze. I'm sorry? My last evening at your parents' home, before the engagement was called off, did you come to me that night? I stared at my hands and laced them together. She didn't know that was me? Yes, it was me. Please don't tell me you think I assaulted you, Melinda. I asked you for your consent. You didn't smell like you. I thought you were Stephen. I thought I was consenting to be with him. When you got into that bed, you said you would try, and he said the same thing when I agreed to marry him, so I thought he was trying. No wonder, she whispered, shaking her head. No wonder what? She looked me right in my eyes again. No wonder I was responded to. It felt like I was with a man who delighted in being with women. I scowled. Didn't you think? Couldn't you feel that I thoroughly enjoyed myself with you, Melinda? I thought you did. But then that comment. I felt lower than dirt, thinking the man I was going to marry wanted me that night, but after he had me, all he could say was that he'd never want me again. I went to Stephen the next day to ask why he wouldn't have sex with me again, and deduced quickly it wasn't him I was with in that bed. Figuring out it was you made it worse. How could you not want me again? I did. Of course I did. But like I told you before, I didn't want. I couldn't watch you say I do to him after making love with me. She dropped her forehead into her hand. That's what you said that night. With you, Melinda? Also crushing to remember after what I thought was a perfect night and then cast aside. Shaking my head, I say to her, I'm sorry I hurt you. I didn't want to, but I needed to try. I needed to make love with you and just walk away. That's what I meant when I said I would try. I would walk away and try to forget what we did and live my life as your brother-in-law. Tears rolled down her cheeks and I felt like the worst fool on the planet. Melinda, I love you, Jack, she sobbed, holding her face. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blurt it out that way. I lost my breath for a good 30 seconds, but my heart tried to thump out of my chest. She reached into her purse, pulled out a flower-covered handkerchief, and patted at her eyes. I know you don't feel the same for me, but I needed to tell you that before I told you that. What? I shouted. I do feel the same way. You think it was only about sex with you? You think all I've ever felt was a physical attraction to you? Didn't you? Damn it, no, I shouted again. I fell for you before I walked across that lawn to greet my mother. I think I did too, she whispered. Fell for you, I meant. I still feel it. So do I responded sadly. But we can't be together. I won't touch you again. She nodded and her face dropped. I stared at her bent head, aching inside, longing to take her in my arms and keep her there forever. After I found you weren't Stephen, I spent months not knowing who was in that bed with me. I racked my brain day in and day out even while I was in England for those months. I couldn't figure it out. I was under the impression that after you left me in that library, you were gone and weren't returning. I was gone. I couldn't find any peace, so I came back to my parents and tried. Making love with you made the ache worse, so I rented a car and drove across the country. I didn't hear about your wedding being called off until damn near 3 months later. It was called off the next day. Stephen had sex with an ex and confessed. I couldn't. Even though the marriage was to be in name only, I couldn't chance it. It was only supposed to be the man he loved. I nodded. Before I go, just for my peace of mind. You only said never again because you thought I was marrying Stephen, right? I tilted my head. What are you thinking, Melinda? That I disappointed you, she whispered. I scowled again. In bed? Yes, she whispered again. She could not possibly be thinking that stupidly. I sighed heavily. Just seeing you has me, at attention. If I stand, I will completely humiliate myself. A smile crossed her tear-stained face. So it wasn't just my mind blown by that experience? I scoffed. Not at all. I meant what I said earlier, Melinda. My response that night was truly genuine. I lost all my sanity being with you, and it took everything in me to get out of that bed. I missed you as soon as I stood. I still ache for you. Her eyes widened and hope crossed her beautiful face. Why can't we be together then? What's wrong with me? I tapped my fingers together. If only we could. You're married, Melinda. There is no way I will break up a home. You have a child now, and your baby deserves a family with both his or her parents. She whispered. Iris Elizabeth Stanton. Stanton? She doesn't have her father's last name? No. I didn't figure out who her father was until this morning. I frowned, my heart thumped in my chest again. This morning? Melinda nodded. I was giving her a bath when my mother commented how beautiful she is with her bright green eyes and ash blonde hair. I stared into Melinda's blue eyes and shuddered. She grew with my child inside her, gave birth to her, and I missed the whole damn thing. I scrubbed my face and shook my head. I have a daughter whom I've never seen. When's her birthday? April 18th, she whispered again. She's 6 months already. Is she healthy? Happy? Melinda nodded, smiling. She is. I nodded and slapped the desk. Right. Well, first we need to change her name. She scowled. What? You don't like Iris Elizabeth? I don't like Stanton. My daughter will have my name. Iris Elizabeth Carter sounds much better. She smiled. Okay. Send me the paperwork and I'll sign. Anything else? Yeah. How about we change your last name too? Now she gave me a grin. I like Stanton. I grinned too. I still think Carter sounds better. Okay, compromise. Melinda Iris Stanton Carter. Her cheeks reddened. No, I don't like that at all. What? I frowned, thinking she was turning me down. One Iris is enough. Melinda Stanton Carter. Agreed, I grinned. Good. Now go get me a ring and ask me correctly. You got it, I loudly agreed, standing. I moved to her chair, pulled her to her feet, and held Melinda close as I lowered my lips to hers. After a few minutes, I reluctantly stopped and put my forehead to hers, still holding her tightly to my body, not caring if she felt how much I wanted to throw her on my desk and recreate our one night together in the privacy of my office. I love you, Melinda. I love you, Jack. When can I meet my daughter? Right now. She's with Sarah, she revealed, moving out of my arms. I watched her walk to the door. Butterflies filled my being as I waited for her to return. When she did, my breath caught. My daughter was beautiful. She looked just like my mother with her blonde hair and the biggest green eyes I'd ever seen. I took her from Melinda's arms after she said she wanted to clean her face. I smiled big at Iris. She stared at me for a moment, then happily lowered her head to my chest. I was a goner already. Melinda returned and beamed at me and our daughter, who still had her head on my chest while I rocked her. I called my mother, who sounded upbeat. She informed me she's with Dad and Eleanor. I smiled while tapping the speakerphone and softly said, "Good. Keep them there. I have a surprise for all of you and will be at yours sometime this afternoon." A surprise? Well, I know John has nothing planned until this evening with his special friend, but I'm not sure about Eleanor. Ellie? Do you have any plans later? Jack wants to stop by with a surprise for the three of us. I'll stay. I'm going to have to keep close to Lou after I digest that god-awful chicken salad you served for lunch, Grace. Really, darling, you should stay out of a kitchen. Don't even walk through one. 1. I didn't prepare the meal. 2. Perhaps if you adjusted your vitamin regimen and stopped chasing the fountain of youth, you'd have a better digestive system. You're 60, dear, Get over it. My father guffawed, Melinda's and my eyes rolled. I'll see you in a couple of hours, I sighed and ended that call. Come go for a ride with me, Melinda, I said, holding my hand out. She held it immediately. Where are we going? First, we're going to get that ring. After, I'm calling your dad and have him meet us at my parents' home so I can propose to you on my knee in front of everyone. 1 second. Melinda released my hand and pulled out her cell. I lightly patted my daughter's back. Melinda dialed someone and placed the phone on speaker. Hey doll. What's up? Stephen, I want to tell you about Iris' father. What about him? Did you finally figure out it's legit for Ladybug to call me Uncle Stephen? My brother was amused. I believed I might kill him after all. You knew, I asked. Well, yeah, Jack. It's kinda hard not to see it. Iris looks just like Mom. Melinda inhaled. She does not, Stephen. Oh yes, she does, doll. I shook my head and vowed I'm going to kill him when I see him. Why didn't you say anything? To either of us? I wanted to, Jack. Once we met Ladybug, I knew straight away she was yours because, like I said, she's a mini-mom. I really wanted to tell you, and when we left her that day I was coming straight to you, but Jay thought it would be best if Melinda figured it out on her own. We saw her again 2 days later and she told us about that night. I decided Jay was right and agreed to give it a year. If she didn't realize the truth by that time, I was going to blab it at Ladybug's birthday party. How on earth she ever thought that was me in bed with her, I'll never know. As if I could ever make a woman happy once, let alone 4 times. I have no clue whatsoever how to do anything to a woman. I chuckled. Melinda gasped and shouted, That is the last time I ever tell you anything, Stephen Asher Carter. You and Jonathan get to your mother's in an hour. That is not a request. I laughed. Melinda ended the call and took my hand again. I kissed her and our daughter's head. Come on, let's go give my parents the surprise of their lives. After, we'll get started planning the wedding of the century. I can't wait, my fiancé beamed. To marry you, nor to see the look on Grace and John's faces when they find out they have a grandchild. I smiled at her. Neither could I, on both.
The late afternoon sun gilded the Carter family's estate as Jack pulled up to his parents' house, Melinda and Iris by his side. The green-eyed baby gurgled in Melinda's arms, her tiny hands clutching strands of her mother's hair as Jack opened the door and gestured for them to enter. Inside, laughter and the low buzz of conversation spilled from the sitting room. Grace, John, Howard, Marla, Gemma, Stephen, Jonathan, and Eleanor were gathered, cups of tea and glasses of wine in hand, and all but Stephen and Jonathan's faces were alight with anticipation, having been told only that Jack had a surprise for all. Jack led Melinda into the room, his arm protectively around her waist. For a moment, silence fell as every eye landed on Iris, who peeked over at Grace with her bright green gaze. A collective gasp sounded before every being in the room went silent. Grace was the first to recover, but her voice was trembling with emotion. Jack, Melinda, is that? Am I? You are, Mom, Jack nodded, unable to keep the tremor from his own voice. This is Iris Elizabeth, your granddaughter. Biologically, John whispered, though his face showed he already knew that answer. Iris did, after all, look just like his wife. She is, Jack confirmed. Sobs and joyous exclamations erupted, arms opening wide as Grace enveloped Melinda and the baby in a fierce embrace. John's gruff exterior softened as he gently caressed Iris's back, his eyes suspiciously bright before he kissed the baby's head. Stephen and Jonathan crowded close, their playful banter returning in full force as they argued over who would shed the most tears. Eleanor, uncharacteristically, declared Iris the most beautiful child on 2 continents and immediately proposed a toast. Later, as the evening waned and stars pricked the navy sky, Jack knelt before Melinda in the garden where, months before, their story had almost ended before it began. He offered her a ring, his grandmother's, a piece of family history that John slipped to him before dinner, and asked her to be his wife. Melinda, tears sparkling on her lashes, laughed and said, Yes, about time, Jack Carter. The family cheered, and Iris, sensing the joy around her, let out a delighted squeal and clapped her chubby hands. The night was filled with music and stories, the house alive with warmth and hope. The following spring, Melinda and Jack married in a sun-drenched ceremony beneath the oak trees, Iris toddling down the aisle with a crown of wildflowers. Stephen stood beside Jack, beaming with pride, and so was Keely Atkins, who was Melinda's friend from her college days and now her maid of honor. Grace and Eleanor, radiant and arm in arm, presided over the festivities, their own truth now quietly accepted by those who mattered most. Several guests, close friends and family, watched as Melinda's father walked her down the aisle, his heart full of peace, while her mother, resplendent in a modest, elegant dress, winked at her from the front row with John, the groom's father. Love, complicated and unexpected, had found its way through misunderstandings, heartbreak, and secrets. The past could not be changed, but forgiveness and honesty had shaped a future none of them could have imagined. The end. I hope you enjoyed Jack and Melinda's story and that you'll leave your thoughts, comments, and questions below. Also, hit the like button and share the video. Any support is gratefully appreciated.